Metabolic stress does not drive hypertrophy like you might be inclined to believe. It is a side effect, not a cause. So let's get into it. If we've not met before, I'm Lockie, an Oxford Brookes University sport and exercise science student, and I am your source for science-based training insights. And today we're tackling a major misconception in the world of fitness, and it's that chasing the pump or the burn caused by metabolic stress and metabolite accumulation is what drives muscle growth. Many lifters believe that the buildup of metabolites like lactate and hydrogen ions, the so-called pump, directly signals hypertrophy. But recent research shows that whilst metabolic stress and metabolite accumulation can make your training feel more intense, it's not actually a primary driver of hypertrophy. Instead, mechanical tension, which is how forcefully your muscles contract, is the key factor. So let's explore what the latest science has to say about this. So here's the challenge, is that the common misconception that more metabolic stress means more muscle, and high rep, low load workouts are often promoted because they create a significant burn. However, this burn is simply just a byproduct of fatigue. Research indicates that metabolite accumulation, such as lactate buildup, does not directly cause hypertrophy, and the idea that the pump equates to more muscle is severely outdated. In fact, studies have shown that when sets are performed closer to failure, regardless of the rep range, the hypertrophic response is similar, meaning that the pump itself and anything surrounding it is not the driver for muscle growth. And on top of that, if you're using light weights to generate more metabolic stress, you might be delaying muscle relaxation and forcing more motor unit recruitment. But this benefit is only realised if your sets are actually taken closer to failure, so within 0 to 2 reps in reserve. So without reaching this threshold, metabolic stress remains just that, a signal of fatigue rather than a direct growth stimulus. So this creates a major problem. If you're chasing high rep, metabolic stress inducing training without the tension needed for growth, you risk exceeding your maximum recoverable volume. That leads to excessive fatigue, longer recovery times, and ultimately impaired progress. So what is the role of mechanical tension versus metabolic stress? So mechanical tension is the primary driver of hypertrophy. So when you lift, your muscles generate force that creates tension along the muscle fibers, activating anabolic pathways such as mTOR. In contrast, metabolic stress marked by the pump is largely a byproduct of fatigue. And while this metabolic stress may contribute to muscle growth, it does so only by forcing additional motor unit recruitment as you near failure. So the critical insight here is that the pump isn't a signal for extra muscle growth. It's just merely an indicator of fatigue. So let's look into the limitations of excessive volume for metabolic stress. So high rep sets designed to maximize metabolic stress can often push you past your maximum recoverable volume. And this excessive volume leads to prolonged CNS fatigue and longer recovery times, which may actually hinder consistent progress. Studies compared low load, high rep training to traditional strength-based protocols and have found similar muscle growth when sets are taken close to failure, suggesting that the metabolic burn is not actually adding any additional benefits. So in essence, more isn't always better. If you're accumulating excessive fatigue through higher volume, you compromise your ability to train consistently because you might not know or even understand where your maximum recoverable volume is, so you go past that point, you try to train again, but because you've not recovered from the last session, because you passed your MRV, you can't train properly for the next session. So this is why a high intensity, low rep approach working within 0 to 2 RAR is better for optimizing muscle hypertrophy. So what does it actually mean for your workouts? Because it's all well and good knowing this and me telling you it, but if you don't know how to apply it, it's useless. So let's cover some practical applications to your training. So the first point is that you need to stop chasing the pump, because the burn you feel during high rep sets is just a marker of fatigue that does not equate to more muscle growth. You need to prioritize mechanical tension by focusing on heavy, low rep training that produces maximum force output, and when your rep speed slows in the final 5 reps at 0 to 2 RAR, that's your signal of high tension and optimal stimulus. You need to go for effort over excess, because the only way metabolic stress contributes meaningfully to hypertrophy is if it forces you to recruit high threshold motor units. But this is only effective when you approach failure. Otherwise, it's merely a byproduct of fatigue. And it's important to keep consistency across exercises, because rep ranges staying consistent for both compound and isolation exercises ensure a uniform training stimulus and better management for overall fatigue. This balanced approach allows you to maximize your hypertrophy while staying in your maximum recoverable volume, ensuring consistent progress without unnecessary fatigue. So something we've not covered yet, but I think is a massive takeaway, is that progressive overload is not something you force, it's the natural product of your muscles adapting to high mechanical tension. So when your rep velocity slows as you approach 0 to 2 RAR, it's a sign you're recruiting almost all of your motor units and reaching peak tension, which we all now know is the primary stimulus for hypertrophy. So rather than chasing the pump, focus on high intensity sets where each rep is meaningful. This means it's got to be executed with control, especially during the eccentric phase, but don't necessarily be concerned about controlling it excessively for an extended period of time. Just make sure the rep doesn't drop. Because remember, prolonged time under tension beyond a certain point doesn't add extra growth, it's the quality of the tension that matters the most. This approach not only ensures maximum muscle activation, but it also keeps your recovery in check, allowing progressive overload to naturally occur as your muscles get bigger and stronger. Now don't get me wrong, I used to believe the burn and the pump was a great indicator that I was working properly and efficiently towards hypertrophy, because it felt great. But then I realized that the growth actually happens because of the reduced speed in reps towards the end of your set, as you get close to failure. So that's when I shifted my focus from volume to intensity, and then my gains followed suit. So to sum it up, mechanical tension is the primary stimulus for muscle hypertrophy, not the metabolic byproducts. Rep velocity slowing near 0 to 2 RAR indicates maximal motor unit recruitment, which is critical for growth. Progressive overload is the natural result of your muscles adapting to high tension, not something you force by simply adding more reps or calories. Focus on controlled high intensity training and maintain control during the eccentric phase rather than fixating on exact timing. Consistent rep ranges across exercises help ensure a uniform stimulus while keeping you within your maximum recoverable volume. So train smart by prioritizing quality and intensity and let your muscles adapt to long-term gains. So now I want to hear from you. Have you been chasing the pump during your workouts, or what is your method for maximizing tension whilst reducing fatigue? Make sure you let me know in the comments below. And if you're ready to take your training to the next level with personalized training plans and everything backed by science, head over to the website linked in the description and check out the training plans in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I post. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.